Hello everyone, my name is Roya and today I will be telling you all about the books that I got at Book Expo. I am still so amazed that I even went, and I am so happy. I had so much fun. I want to say thank you so much to my wonderful husband Jay, because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone. Because it was his idea to pay for my plane ticket and my entry fee for Christmas, so I'm very, very happy that he did that. I love having a husband who's so supportive of my writing and my reviewing books. It is so awesome. So anyway, I ended up getting 27 books. And I'm going to start with the ones that I've read already, and just work my way kind of through in some particular order that's not really any sort of order. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Rule by Ellen Goodlitz. I'm actually currently reading this. I'm over halfway through. It is about three girls who do not know that they are half-sisters and princesses. They're being raised in completely separate parts of the kingdom, and one day the king summons all of them to court and says, "I'm dying, my son was killed, so one of you guys has to be my heir and you guys have to compete." So it's a lot like Three Dark Crowns, except sadly there is no fight to the death. I wish there were. But anyway, I'm really, really enjoying this book, and also there is a female-female romance in it, which I did not know. So the only relationship subplot over halfway through this book so far is between two women, and that makes me so happy. I had no idea going into this book. Next, I'm going to talk about Mammoth, which was the first arc that I got on the first day. It was the only arc that I got on the first day because the first day isn't as crazy and only a few booths are open. But basically, I finished this book during the event and it was so good. It is about a girl named Natalie who wants to be a paleontologist, and she gets an internship, and she's also a plus-size fashionista who makes her own clothes and has a blog about fashion. She kind of uses her fashion and her like makeup and all this stuff as sort of a shield in a way. Because she was picked on for being fat when she was a kid, and basically she has so reinvented herself so thoroughly that there's a random dude who we never actually meet in this book who has a crush on her, not knowing that she's the same girl he picked on before. Her favorite paleontologist steals her work, steals the credit for something she did. It's just really crazy. Like, I'm going to talk about this book in a wrap-up soon. Next is another book that I've already read, and that is Mirage by Somaya Daoud, and I already read this a couple of months ago. I will leave a link down to the wrap-up in which I talked about it, but yes, it is a wonderful, wonderful book, and it comes out on August 18th. Next is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I have also read this as well. I read it just towards the end of last year. I won it at the Owl Crate booth, so I did not have a copy, just like Mirage, but I loved this book. So hooray, now I have it. Next, I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I'm really excited about that are like kind of besides Rule. They're like my number one ones. They're tied with Rule for my like number one. And I'm going to talk about them kind of in the order that I got them. So the first one is The Boneless Mercies, and I got this at, because it was actually being given away at the same time as one of these other ones, so I thought I was going to miss out. But I got it at the Fierce Reads Recommends giveaway, where you kind of just tell the people at the Fierce Reads booth what kind of book you're looking for, and then they give you a book that fits that. And so I went there specifically with this book in mind, because I knew that that is the publisher of this book, so I asked them, I said I like fantasy with badass warrior ladies, so they gave me this. So they were like, did you have this book in mind when you got here? Sounds like it. But anyway, this is Gender Bent Beowulf, basically, and I love Beowulf, and I love badass warrior ladies, so hooray. The next one that I am oh so excited that I got, and I can't believe it, is Here to Stay by Sara Farizan, and as you guys probably know, I love her books to death. And also, I got to meet her, and she actually recognized me. She even remembered the first the first video that I talked about her books in. It was like my 5th booktube video ever, 3.5 years ago, because I've been on booktube 3.5 years now. So anyway, so this is Here to Stay, and it is about a Persian boy who basically has to deal with racial equality, pretty much. And this does not have queer Persian girls in it, as far as I know, because her other two books are all about queer Persian girls. But anyway, so I love her books so much, mostly just because of just the emotional roller coaster that they take you through, because they basically have main characters that get betrayed really horribly, and then in a way that kind of puts your heart in your throat with suspense, and you kind of go, how is this character going to overcome this? But then they actually become so much better in the end, and they feel so much better about themselves and more validated and everything. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading this very soon. Right after I got that one, I went and stood in line for the Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason. I always want to I always get the title confused with A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, but this is not connected in any way. This is basically about a couple of people and a heist that involves a theater play and all of that. So yeah, it's very, very awesome. The line for it was so long, and it was actually kind of insane because this random like middle-aged man walked by and saw the line and said, "What's this the line for? It's a really long line." And we told him, "Oh, it's for the Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason." And he said, "So you're all crazy?" And we were like, no, it's not an instruction manual, it's fiction. I also got A Room Away from the Wolves, which I basically... The author of this was still signing them all the way up until Sarah Farizan was signing Here to Stay. So since I was like there about 10 minutes early, I decided that since I was right there, I would get this one as well. I had heard about it and it sounds good. I don't remember what it's about at this moment, but anyway, look at the beautiful purple cover. It looks fabulous. Here's another one that I kind of just like, you know, obviously I've heard of because it's Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody and it's already out, but I hadn't really intended to get it at Book Expo, but I like walked by and there happened to be not that much of a line and she was signing it, so I got it. And with her was Nancy Richardson Fisher signing this arc of When Elephants Fly at the same time. So I got this one as well, and it is about a girl whose mother was schizophrenic and tried to kill her, and she might become schizophrenic as well. Another one that I'm very excited about is The Sisters of the Winter Wood by Rena Rossner. So my friend Kelsey from the Fancy Hat Lady Reads was standing in line for this book, so I decided to hop in line as well. The line was not very long, and we were actually going to go and see a panel about fairy tales that this author was on next. So anyway, this is about some Russian folklore and some sisters in the Ukraine in the forest, and it sounds awesome. Now here's another one that somebody else basically told me about, and this is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, the author of The Bone Season. I have not previously read any of her books, but this is completely unconnected. It is a standalone fantasy, and Alex from the Books Buzz was telling me about this one. So she was definitely going to get in line for it, and she said, okay, as soon as you see this cover, you're going to say, yeah, I want that book too. So she showed me and Taylor from Taylor Talks Books and a couple of other people the cover, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that does look awesome. So anyway, it's a fantasy with dragons and royalty and stuff. So it's huge. It's 861 pages. It's a ginormous book. I also got A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This was on the third day I saw this. They had dropped it multiple times already, and the last giveaway that they were doing that morning just didn't have a line at all. They had already gone through the line and they still had huge stacks of them left, and so I just went up and said, oh, can I have one? And they were like, yeah, sure, and they gave it to me. So anyway, this is a YA fantasy that I don't know what it's about. First arc that I got on day 2 of the event was Rage Becomes Her, and I believe this is some kind of feminist book. I read the summary online beforehand, and it does sound really awesome, so I'm excited to get into it. One that I was not expecting to find is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, and this is about a girl who was a guitar player in a heavy metal band, and then the lead singer took off to do his own thing, and then later on she finds out that he got very successful by selling her soul, so she has to go and be like, dude, why'd you sell my soul? So I grabbed this because it sounds super good. It was just on a table that was like in the panels area. It wasn't even on the showroom floor at all. And it turns out that this is actually my friend Catherine's most anticipated book of the year, and she's not on BookTube, but she is a book reviewer. I will leave her Twitter link down below. So I'm going to hopefully read this one very soon so that I can send it her way. Another one that I was very excited to get is The War Outside, and this is basically a alternate World War II story. The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This is a fantasy about two sisters. Seafire, which is about some women who are pirates. Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. Obviously, I had my eye on this book, so I saw her talk on a panel as well. She's also so nice. She signed this book for me. I'm very looking forward to reading it. It is an Asian-inspired fantasy about two concubines who fall in love with each other. Dry by Neil Shusterman and I believe his son, and this book is about a drought that occurs and everyone is just having to fight for their water, I guess, and is going to die of thirst. Between Worlds. This is a YA fantasy. I'm not sure what this is about, but basically it was being given away in the same giveaway as What If It's Us? And so I was not even that far back in line, but they already ran out of What If It's Us by the time I got up there, but I thought this sounded right up my alley, so I grabbed it. The Soul Keepers. This is a Swoon Reads book. I don't know what it's about, but look at this cover. It looks so hardcore. Dear Evan Hansen, which was kind of just handed to me when I got to the Little Brown booth before they were giving away Rule. They kind of just were like handing this out, so I was like, okay. So this is based off of a musical that I've never heard of, that's also called the same title. The summary is so vague. It basically is about a boy who does things and stuff happens, basically, is what the synopsis says. Like, the synopsis does not give away anything about what it's about, which is weird because it's a musical, so it's not like it's gonna spoil anybody. So I really don't know what to tell you about what this book is about because I do not know. Light Years. This was being given away at the Little Brown booth as well. It is a sci-fi about some teenagers in space. And the last few arcs I got were also with my friend Kelsey as we were standing in line for stuff. So she really wanted this giveaway of Finding Baba Yaga and Exit Strategy, which is the 4th Murderbot novella. So these are both Tor.com novellas, and she mainly wanted this one because she's read the first two. I've never read any of the Murderbot books, but I should definitely check them out now that I have the 4th one. And this one is a standalone, I believe. And Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So this is the last arc that I got. I stood in line with Kelsey for 2 hours. I have actually not read Strange the Dreamer. I have, however, read Daughter of Smoke and Bone and that whole trilogy, and I loved it. So now I guess I have no excuse not to read Strange the Dreamer. So these are some of the books that I got at BEA/Book Expo/ whatever they're calling it primarily now. I'm not going to hold all of them up in the video because it's just too big of a stack and it wouldn't even fit in the frame. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these, have thoughts on them, what your most anticipated releases are, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!